WebShot Pro now lets you share your HDR photos as video that you can share on Facebook or on Instagram stories and reels, or show your friends and family on your big screen TV at home as a slideshow with an Apple TV, YouTube, or a USB stick. Let's now dive in and take a look at how you can create your own HDR video slideshow. The first thing you'll need, of course, will be some photos. So I've already created these for the sake of keeping this YouTube video short. And then optionally, you can add music as well. So I've got some royalty-free music we might add here. For the images, what I did is I exported them from WebShot Pro at very high resolution. So I use the resize to fit max 8000 by 8000, meaning that the long edge on these images can be up to 8000 pixels. And the reason for that is I'm going to export at 4K. And for an image like this with a 4K landscape, I'm probably going to crop into it. I'm going to start losing pixels. Or for an image like this, I might choose to pan across the image in the video, taking my time kind of zoomed in. And so all that kind of cropping or cutting into the image requires higher resolution in the source than the final video in order to retain full quality. In terms of the formats, any HDR format from WebShot Pro is fine. What I like to do in settings here is set the HDR format for JPEG with a gain map. Again, you could use anything. The reason I like JPEG with a gain map is simply because it's more performant. When we make the video, the thumbnails and such will move much faster with a JPEG than they would with a TIFF. Now, this looks a little funny because we're not going to use a gain map because video does not support it. We're going to ignore it. So for the sake of exporting, where I'm typically going to export using the batch feature in WebShot Pro, I don't want to spend time tone mapping the SDR-based image. So setting tone map method to auto will keep me from having to spend time on something that won't affect the video. And the HDR color space, I would generally choose P3, but you can choose whatever you like here. So again, you can use any settings you want, but these are the settings I like to use. Once you've created your images, now we'll go in the latest version of WebShot Pro version 7 to the top right flyout menu. Under HDR tools, you see this option for create video or HTML slideshow. It's really two different things, and I'll probably break this into two menu options in the future. When you click on it, you'll see some settings and then the ability to create an HTML slideshow. This is something that's been around for a while, and I have a tutorial that I'll link below for those of you who want to use this. This feature will work for anyone running WebShot Pro, and you can then play back in a browser from your computer to a TV over HDMI. So it's a great option for anyone to play locally or on your website. The option we're going to explore here is this new Create HDR video option. And as you'll see, this is an extensive update to WebShot Pro. It's essentially an entirely new program inside of WebShot Pro. And for that reason, it's only available at this time for Apple Silicon. It's a massive effort. If there's significant demand, I may add support for Windows in the future. But for now, you'll only see this button if you're on Apple Silicon. So I don't need to set the settings here because they're really built into this tool as well. So I'm going to just bypass that and go right into creating the video, where we're going to choose our source folder. If you're ever curious why you're seeing a pop-up like this, WebShot Pro will tell you what it's asking for. So we're just pointing to the photos I showed you that I created before we started this YouTube tutorial. So we're going to open them, and it pops open in this new editing interface. And what you're looking at is kind of a slide sorter, so you can determine the order of your images for the slideshow, and then down below, a bunch of different options for how you export it. We're going to export this for Apple TV, so 4K landscape is correct. If we were going to export for something like, Facebook, well, then 1080p portrait would be correct. And notice that you're seeing a preview of how it would look with the letterboxing, the black bars, because I've got the cropping preview turned on. So with it off, we're just seeing the still images. With the cropping preview, we're seeing what it's going to look like in the video. I probably would want to do something to avoid this level of letterboxing, and we can customize that all later. But for now, let's just go back to 4K and kind of clean up our presentation here a bit. So I'm thinking I'm going to maybe remove this image. I'm going to click and hit delete. Let's go and move this one to the middle of the slideshow. Let's go put this one at the end of the slideshow. And this will be the order for my slideshow. And so if I just created it right now, it would be going through each image, 5 seconds for each image, and crossfading for a second between them. Let's go set it for more like a 10 seconds per image. And then the styles here, you can choose how it transitions. When you go in here, you're giving the tool the ability to crop, pan, zoom, or pan and zoom your images. And what it'll do is if you select multiple, it will arbitrarily assign different versions to these images. and take care of this for you. What I like to do is manually determine all these options. We'll turn these off and we'll do it on the individual images. So when these are all off, letterboxing is used as you see here. So we'll go into that in a moment. But for right now, if we exported this slideshow, we would just get these in this order with the formatting down here. You can see it's going to be an HLG encoding, which is recommended. You can use PQ if that's something you prefer. The quality here, I would just leave at high, unless you're going to be exporting to something like a USB stick for your TV, in which case it may be advantageous for good. I have notes on some of the peculiarities of particular platforms I'll have that I'll reference at the end of this video. So for Apple TV, HLG high is great. You could optionally limit the amount of HDR if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. So this will just play the images as I have them. So if I'm happy with this, I just go simply click render and it's going to start creating my video. I'm going to cancel that. And instead, we'll just keep doing some more editing and I'll show you some rendered videos in a moment. I mentioned that you could customize these. Let's say, for example, you don't want this big letterboxing here. We can double click to view the image large. And then in this view, you can customize how it handles this specific image. So by default, auto is pulling from any of the options you chose in styles. Since we didn't choose any, it's always going to be a letterbox. So it's just filling to get to an overall 4K aspect ratio. But if I want to crop in, I can choose crop and let's just go and bring in the crop to where something like this. And that way we can eliminate those black edges and get the exact crop we want. Now I could close this and go to the next image, or using the left and right arrow keys on the keyboard, move through. So we can just very quickly determine how to handle these. So let's just try some different styles. On this one, let's maybe zoom into it. So if I choose zoom, I can choose the starting point will be more kind of full frame. The end point will be something like this. So across the, I guess, 10 seconds we chose down below, it'll go from the larger version down to this, kind of just zooming into the image. Let's go to the next one. For this one, let's go and choose to pan and zoom. So it'll be both at the same time. So I'm going to go choose a nice wide framing like so. And then for the end, can zoom it in here. You're seeing this percentage is showing how much we're enlarging pixels. So if it's greater than 100%, it's letting you know that there's some loss of quality. And that's inherent because I'm cropping down my image quite a bit to fit on 4K. So I think that will look good. So it's going to, across the 10 seconds of this slide, it's going to just zoom from the outer into the inner and so on. I just keep customizing these. That's the way that you would set up the various slides. And then if we want to add music to it, we've got this music tab. If we jump back to the Finder, I'm just going to drag and drop my music in here. And you see the song is showing yellow in the areas it doesn't get to. So right now, we have 1 minute and 13 seconds based on the number of images at 10 seconds with our crossfades, and we're only doing one loop. If, for example, I was going to loop this a couple times to make a longer video, you see now we're getting more of the song used. If we start going up to like, say, 100 loops, well, now it's going to use the whole song and it'll keep looping these and we'd have a 2-hour video, which might be helpful if you're playing back on a dumb video player. However, I'm going to use HDR Cast, which I'll mention at the end, which is a free iOS app I've created that will let you share the video over AirPlay to the Apple TV with looping. So I don't need to make a longer video. The app is going to do the looping for me. But I may want to choose how this song is used. If I start to play it, there's quite a bit of dead zone in there. It doesn't really start playing till around here. So let's go trim in the edge. And now we can hear maybe starting like so. I'm going to go and just bring the play out like this. There we go. So I just trimmed off a little bit of that dead music. And yeah, that's basically it. I've created my video and I just click the render button to go and export it. Now, I'm not going to have a sit and wait for this. Instead, let's take a look at some projects I've already rendered. So for that, let's pull up the actual project. So I'm going to go up to my recent projects. I've got one that I'm calling Pan. So we'll load this project. And that is going to be this video here. So when I play this, what you're seeing is the video is kind of scrolling across the scene here because I started on the left and moved to the right. So this is just a panning operation. And I'm running this for about 27 seconds great for something like Facebook. Now, there's no audio in this clip, but when I upload it to, say, Instagram, you can add music there in their interface. The key is choose the music option that doesn't add a graphic to your video, because if you add graphics to the video, it'll break the HDR. You can use their music, or you can use the music that we had here. Just to look at this a little more closely, see it's set for pan, and it starts here and it ends here. And if you're ever moving these, you want to snap, hold down the shift key and it'll snap nicely into position. So you can snap on the center lines or center position, things like that. So that was kind of my pan operation, to take one image and just spend some time with it on social media. Let's look at another example. I'm going to go to the second pan option, and well, I guess this one's pretty much doing the same thing. So let's skip that. Let's go to instead my zoom. And this one, what you expect to see is it starts full frame and then it zooms into this inner area here where it ends. So it's kind of moving in, but in and like on a up and to the left. So it's both panning and zooming for this version here. So that is going to be this video. So the rendered version of that video is zooming in across that video. So again, another great option for social media, and that's why it's this 1080p vertical size. Let's go look at another one. Here's a simple slideshow. So in this case, I went through each frame and I cropped it to eliminate the black letterboxing around it. So that's this slideshow here. And so when I play it, there's no motion. It'll just play and then it'll crossfade to the next image on the intervals that I set. So this is something that would be great for Apple TV. I made it kind of advance pretty quickly for this slideshow. If this was me playing it at home, I'd probably set these images to run for like 60 seconds per image and just let them kind of nicely play in the background. And let's take a look at one last example here. We'll go to my dynamic version. So basically the same images, but this time I've done a bunch of stuff to them. So you can see in the first one, I'm panning and zooming. So I'm going from the out, zooming in. And then I've got one where I'm on the bottom and I'm panning up on a vertical image. I've got one where I'm, panning and zooming, kind of zooming in towards the top right. One where I'm zooming in on this tree. I'm kind of starting small and expanding the field of view to reveal more across this frame. I'm zooming in here, a little bit of a pan operation as well. So it's moving to the side. And this is another pan and zoom without not a whole lot of panning to it, mostly just kind of outcropping. So it's starting in the middle and zooming out. So let's take a look at that video. That'll be this one. So when we play this, you see now, instead of having just still images, we have that nice motion. And I set it for a long time for each image so that the motion feels natural and not too rushed. But I'm gonna just move the play out so you can see what's happening here. So move across this, panning up. And then we're zooming in to the right on this one. And then here we're kind of zooming in on the tree, and here we're kind of zooming out here, and here we're zooming in again. And then here we're zooming out on this final one. So tremendous amount of flexibility in how you control the various transitions, the crops, whether you use one image or many, the different encoding formats. It's really up to your creativity, what you put into it, and ultimately render out of this tool. But in addition to creating the video, it's important to understand how to use the video. And so I've created this web page, which is gregbenzphotography.com/how to share HDR videos. And I have information on all the ways you can share HDR images now to Squarespace and Wix, Apple TV, iMessage, Instagram and Threads, Facebook, WordPress, Discord, YouTube. There's so many different ways we can share HDR now. And if you move down this page, let's go jump down to, say, Apple TV. You have instructions on how to share an Apple TV, and you'll see I'm referencing my HDR Cast app. This is an iOS app where I would airdrop the video to my phone, and then from the phone, I use AirPlay to the TV. And the reason I like using this app as opposed to the native iOS app is that I can set this to loop the video over and over, and I can minimize the app so I can do other things with the phone or even lock the phone and it'll keep playing. So it just creates for a nicer streaming experience, and it has a lot of diagnostic information in it as well, telling you about the video that you're playing back. Or we could, for example, take a look at Instagram and Threads, where you have information on how to post photos as well as the video information, which will be this video I'll link here below. So be sure to read the information relevant to the platform you're posting to understand the formats it expects and any platform-specific quirks. This is a live page that I'm updating on a regular basis, so you'll always be able to find the latest information on all the great places you can share HDR photos. Now to learn more about Websharp Pro, click to this next video.